Hey guys, today we will see why most QA engineers get stuck at 15 LPA package, or I can say 15 to 18 LPA package. So, if you are 10 years of experience doesn't always means 10 years of growth, right? Sometimes it's just 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. If you are stuck at the salary ceiling, it's rarely because of your coding skills, it's because of your mindset. Let's say you are confusing experience with impact. So, thinking that I have worked for 12 years automatically qualifies you for higher package? No, it's a trap. It's not the correct mindset, I can say. So, the reality is market pay for the size of problem you have solved, not the years you have spent sitting on a in a chair job. I mean, senior QA writes code, lead QA builds a strategy that saves 500 engineers hours. So, which one are you from? You have to think on it, right? Okay, the second point is execution focused and outcome focused. So here what people think is that they are doing lot of work the whole day. They are working like writing 50 test cases, automating few things, and they are doing enough. But the truth is, the reality is that it is not based on the outcome focus. CEO, CTO, all the managers doesn't care about how much work, how many hours you spent on your laptop. They are only worried and they are only focused on the outcome you have developed, or you have given those outcomes. Like, instead of raising the bug, you can start reporting the risk factor. Instead of thinking about I have written 50 test cases, they automated this much of things and clear the regression suite. Instead of that, the what high paid QEs should care about is the lead time, the deployment frequency, how your how you have increased the deployment frequency, which will help to PMs to repeat the cycle of iteration of new feature. In this way it will directly impact the business. The third point is automation without business value. Like, you are automating 100% of everything just because you can automate. But the reality is automation is an investment. If a feature changes every week, do you think it is really required to get automated? It's just waste of money or waste of time. Instead of, you think on in a basis of ROI of testing, ROI of automation. Talk about choosing the right tool. Like, let's say the tool should be based on the team velocity and not the trendy which is on the LinkedIn and all the people are talking about. Let's say I was using WebDriver IO from last 5 years. I have not shifted from WebDriver IO to Playwright just because Playwright is a trendy tool on LinkedIn and on YouTube. It's not, it doesn't work in that way. Instead of that, do automate those things which can impact, which can create impact, which can save time, which can save manual testers time. They can run it and they can iterate the automation cycle quickly. In this way, the testing time, you have saved the testing time, and in this way we have get ROI as a time saved. Not just we are automating everything just to automate without knowing that what is the ROI behind it, why we are wasting so much of time behind those feature which is not required to automate. The fourth point is avoid ownership. I have seen in my current company as well, like, people have this attitude like not my job or not under my scope. I mean, they just focus on finishing the tickets and closing the laptop, that's it. Here people just behave as a service provider, or in like they work as a service company. They should not behave in that way. They should aware about everything. I'm not telling them to cover the testing scope of everybody, but you should be aware about all the stuff. Like, do you know the error rate in production? Do you know the top 5 customers of the customers who is complaining? If you don't own such a quality matrix, you are just, you are not a stakeholder. The fifth point is weak communication with devs and PMs on all the stakeholders. Let's say you're only talking with the dev only when you have tickets in your hand or you found some bug. Apart from that, you are not communicating with devs at all. And the but actually what QA's work is, it starts from the requirement stage. They have to connect with PM while grooming. In the grooming call, they should challenging the PMs with the edge cases. They should start, exploring those feature from edge cases perspective, and they start communicating with PM, discuss with the points, and in that way, QA is completely involved in the product requirement. And if you are not challenging the product manager, then you are just catching the fire instead of preventing it. So our work should be on a as a high value QA, I can say. You are a bridge builder. And the next point, I think sixth point, is comfort zone. Same role, different logo. So moving from company A to company B to do the exact same manual automation mix of work just for the 10 to 20% of hike. This is the horizontal movement, I can say. It's not a vertical growth. To break the ceiling of 15% to 20 LPA barrier, you usually need to move into architect or management role. Staying a senior QA test engineer forever creates a salary plateau. You can't move ahead from 15 to 18. So in this way you will be remain in this salary range. So Hardik, what to do? What actually breaks the ceiling? Let me tell you. So to jump from 15 LPA to 30 LPA, you need to transition from tester to quality strategist. You have to uh, grow your learning curve. You have to learn few things. You have to change your mindset. First shift is learn system architecture. How does the data flow? You have to know that you how your system is working, that you should be aware about. It's not like it's not under your scope. You are aware about whatever under your team. It's not like that. You have to aware about in and out of the your current project. Second mindset shift is you have to master observability. Don't just test, monitor it. Like, get aware about what is breaking on production, what is the matrix of regular P1 issue, P2 issue, what is the complaints are from your top 5 lakh clients, what are the majority of complaints are coming from, and which feature are more vulnerable. Third mindset shift is influence the culture. Make the devs responsible for quality. You both are responsible. Devs as well as QA are responsible for the quality. Try to influence this culture and tell them that they are also responsible, and take help from devs. Help them as well for the edge cases during the development. This combination will surely reduce the metrics, and it will collaborate, and it will make you a quality strategist instead of just senior QA. So if you are ready to stop being an executioner and start being a leader, you are ahead of 99% QA. That's it from my side, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.